Alright, today we're going to talk about graphing on a coordinate plane. Now, a coordinate plane are two perpendicular number lines put against each other. So this is what a coordinate plane looks like. Alright, so the coordinate plane looks somewhat like this. You can see that we have number lines right here and also right here. They're perpendicular, they run into each other. 0 is located at the center. 0 is called, that center spot right there is called the origin. Alright, the origin. Alright, that is the center spot right here. We have the x-axis, that's right here. You can see the x right here. Here we have the y-axis. You can see the y right there. It labels it for us. Alright, we also have quadrants. Quadrants label different parts of the graph. So we have 4 different quadrants right here, right here, right here, and right here. You can see how it split the axes, split them up. Quadrant number 1 is in the top. Everything is positive. You can see here positive x values, positive y values. Quadrant 2 then goes that way. So we go counterclockwise around. That would make this quadrant 3 and this quadrant 4. So if I say put a point in quadrant 1, you should know that you should put it in this quadrant right here. If I say quadrant 3, you should know over here. So there we go. So let's graph some of these points here. All right. So if I want to graph 4, 2, my first number is always x. My second number is always y. So if I'm going to graph 4, 2, I'm going to go over here at 4, and I'm going to go up to 2, and I'm going to put a point right there. That's 4, 2. Negative 3, 1 would be over negative 3, up to positive 1. I'm at negative 3, 1. Negative 5, negative 2, negative 5, negative 2. And 0, 3 would be right there. So those would be those 4 points. X comes first, y comes second, plot it out. A couple more definitions. The first one is independent variable. So independent variable. Independent variable is the variable whose value can be chosen. I can choose the independent variable's value. The other one's dependent variable. Dependent variable, and I can see I actually made a spelling mistake right there. Alright, dependent variable. The dependent variable is the variable whose value is determined by the input value of another variable. So oftentimes our input variable is x and our output dependent variable is y, but you'll see here there's tons of different examples. We oftentimes in algebra write it like this, but independent variable, you can choose that value. Dependent variable is dependent upon the input variable. We need to identify the input and the independent and dependent variable. So we have the amount paid versus the number of toys purchased. All right. Well, it's going to depend on how much I pay, depend on how many toys I buy. So the independent variable here is the toys purchased. The dependent variable is the amount paid. If I buy more toys, then I have to pay more. The number of hours worked and the number of number of yards mowed. All right. Well, if I mow more lawns, then I'm going to have to work more hours. Okay? So the independent variable is the number of yards mowed. Dependent variable is the hours worked. Here's an example of what I talked about with the x and the y. You can complete the table. So we've already chosen values for our dependent variable, which is x. We need to come up with the values of the dependent variable, y. So this is how we do that. I take negative 3 and I substitute it in for x. So we say y equals 2 times negative 3 minus 1. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 minus 1. So that is equal to negative 7. So when x equals negative 3, y equals negative 7. So I'm going to put negative 7 in my table. Next, we have x equal to 2. So y is equal to 2 times 2 minus 1. My x value is my x value. That's 4 minus 1, which is equal to 3. So when x equals 2, y equals 3. So I'm going to put that in the table. Last one is x equal to 0. So instead of x, I'm going to write 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is equal to negative 1. So when x equals 0, y equals negative 1. There's an example. We can go over more. If you need some more help, just let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. See you guys later.